Hello guys, welcome to Code Bytes, where we give you bite-sized pieces of code knowledge in the size of bytes. Today's the first lesson. We're just going to talk about the basics of Python. So, what is Python? Coding language, and probably one of the easiest to learn. It's recommended by most people as your first because it's basically just English if you just look at it simplified. So, coding, obviously, if you don't know the basics, oh, that's right here. So, the basics of coding basically work if you type here and it generates here. So, the great thing about Python is that, like I said, it's basically English, so it's very easy to understand. And it takes a lot of stuff that we already know in your basic knowledge of, like, in anything from high school. Like, for instance, in math, you have stuff called variables, which are crucial to basically any coding. So, example of that, like in math, x equals 5. So what that means in coding is that, like in math, x is now equal to 5. And so if we do print x, it prints 5 instead. Now, I should have done this first. Instead of typing that, type this. Print, quotation marks, hello world. So, run your code, and it should print hello world. Should have done that first. So, this is just what you should do first when you learn coding. It's just, I don't know why, it's just defaulted for every teacher says that. So, what's happening here is it's running this built-in function. We're going to talk about functions later. Print in the hello world. The reason we put these quotation marks is because we have to convert this hello world into a string. A string is stuff you can display as like text. Otherwise, as you see, the text changes to white. That basically means it's a variable, which we talked about with x. So actually, if we do hello world and set this to 5, and you actually have to use the underscore because we can't have spaces in Python. Same thing with uppercase and lowercase. Python pays attention to that, so make sure everything matches. It's a variable, so it's equal to 5. So let's go back to the math stuff I was talking about. So x equals 5. Now you notice this is green because this is an integral. So that's a number, and that means you could do math for that. So example of this is, let's say we want to print out x, but now add 5. So it should print out 10, and it does. So let's say x is equal to 5 plus 2. So it's now equal to 7, and then we can do 7 plus 12, or 7 plus 5. So that's the basic idea of variables. And then you can do a lot of things with variables. You can set almost the text too. So print, no, I mean, let's do hello world. Just type in there, but it's fine. Print x, print hello world instead. And then now we move on to another fundamental of Python, the idea of lists. Now lists are created by simply doing these brackets. So lists are important because you can display multiple things in the list. So for instance, display a couple numbers, 6, 5, 6, 7. And they are always separated by quotations. Now a list on its own like this, completely useless. You have to actually set that to a variable. So now this variable is set to this list. So if we were to print out this x, we get the list. Now the thing with lists you can do is a lot of things you can do. Help store data, or whatever you want to use in Python helps when displaying it. So what I mean by that is, let's say we want to display the second number 6. You put another bracket, or whatever it's called, and then we put the number 1. So what this means is it's calling from this list x the index. It's called the index 1. So why is it not displaying 5? Well, Python runs from 0 first as the first number. So if we were to put 0, it would run 5. It would display 5. So run this, we get 6. And if we actually run 0, we get 5. And actually, instead of going to 2, we get 7. You actually do -1, go backwards, and then get 7. Just a neat little thing you can do. And it's not just limited to just one type. You can also, one type of like variable, you can do text as well in it. So if we do, let's do another one again, actually, it prints out TJ. So just a bit of the fundamentals of Python. We have the idea of list, variables, the idea of functions, which we'll talk about later. So that's just some basic understanding of Python, how it works. Thanks for watching.